Good morning from Sydney, and thank you for being here. Today, we're going to talk about how to judge longevity claims in a simple, scientific, and practical way for the public. There's a lot of information and hype about living longer, and this framework helps us separate what is proven, what is supportive, what is experimental, and what can be actually be harmful if misused. The Four Pillars was compiled by Dr. Siva Navaratnam and ChatGPT, my educational partner. I would also like to thank my children, Dinan and Jazara, for helping me in the production of this video. Core truth. Before we talk about supplements, drugs, or new technology, we must understand one core truth. Longevity is not just about what you add, a pill, a vitamin, a biohack, or a new treatment. It is equally and often more powerfully about what you reduce and what you avoid. Reducing smoking, vaping, alcohol, ultra-processed food, poor sleep, chronic stress, and physical inactivity often gives far greater health and lifespan benefits than adding any single supplement. In medicine, removing harm usually helps more than adding therapy. This mindset protects us from hype and keeps us focused on what truly matters for long-term health. The Four Pillars overview. Now let me introduce the framework we will use to judge any longevity claim. We will group everything into four simple pillars. First, things that are proven to help. These are foundations supported by strong human evidence. Second, things that are supportive but not magic, helpful, but they cannot replace the foundations. Third, things that are experimental or early, interesting, promising, but not yet proven for long-term outcomes. And fourth, things that are proven to be harmful if misused, where reducing exposure often gives the biggest health and longevity gains. With this framework, whenever you hear a new claim, a supplement, a drug, or a lifestyle trend, you can ask, which pillar does it really belong to? Let us start with the first and most important pillar, things that are proven to help. These are not trends or biohacks. They are supported by decades of strong human evidence and are the true foundation of long life and good health. Regular physical activity, both aerobic and resistance, improves heart health, insulin sensitivity, brain function, and preserves independence. Adequate sleep and a stable circadian rhythm regulates hormones, immunity, memory, and repair. Good blood pressure and glucose control reduce the risk of heart disease, stroke, kidney failure, and dementia. Maintaining muscle mass is critical for strength, balance, metabolism, and survival as we age. Stopping smoking or vaping is one of the most powerful life-extending interventions in all of medicine. Finally, social connection is not a luxury. It is a biological need. Loneliness increases inflammation, depression, and mortality. These are the pillars that no supplement or drug can replace. Now we come to the second pillar, things that are supportive, but not magic. These are helpful, often beneficial, and supported by some evidence, but they cannot replace the foundations we just discussed. Vitamin D, magnesium, omega-3 fatty acids can support bone health muscle function, heart health, and inflammation control, especially when someone is deficient. Adequate protein intake is essential to preserve muscle, immunity, and recovery as we age. Intermittent fasting can improve insulin sensitivity and metabolic health in some people, but it must be individualized. It is not suitable for everyone. Gut microbiome diversity is important for immunity, metabolism, and brain health, but we are still learning how best to modify it. The key message is these tools can support good health, but they do not override poor sleep, inactivity, smoking, excess alcohol, or uncontrolled blood pressure and sugar. They are helpers, not heroes. Now we come to the third pillar, experimental or emerging interventions. These are exciting areas of research and often sound very promising in the media and on social platforms. However, most of the evidence is still from animal studies, small human trials, or short-term outcomes. Metformin, NAD and plus boosters, rapamycin, senolytics, stem cell and gene therapies, and other aging targeting drugs are all being actively studied. Some may turn out to be helpful, some may not, but some may have important side effects we do not know yet, fully understand. The key point is this: early science is not the same as proven long-term benefit. These approaches should be viewed with curiosity, but also with caution. They are not yet a substitute for the proven foundations of exercise, sleep, metabolic health, and healthy lifestyle. In medicine, we must always balance hope with evidence and enthusiasm with safety. Now we come to the fourth pillar, which is often the most powerful for improving health and longevity. These are factors where the scientific evidence is strong and where reducing exposure can produce large benefits. Smoking and vaping damage the heart, lungs, blood vessels, and brain and remain among the biggest cause of preventable disease and early death. Alcohol causes dose-dependent harm. The more often, the greater the risk to the liver, brain, heart, sleep, cancer risk, and metabolic health. Ultra-processed foods, chronic sleep deprivation, and a sedentary lifestyle drive inflammation, insulin resistance, and cardiovascular disease. Visceral obesity, chronic stress disturb hormones, immunity, and accelerate aging. Starvation and very low protein diets lead to muscle loss, frailty, and higher mortality, especially in older adults. And finally, sudden or inappropriate rigorous exercise without preparation or medical awareness can trigger serious cardiac events even in people who appear fit. The message here is not fear, but wisdom. Longevity is greatly improved by reducing harm, not just by adding supplements or chasing new treatments. Let me leave you with a few simple messages. First, not all longevity claims are equal. Some are strongly supported by evidence, some are helpful but modest, some are still experimental, and some can be harmful if misunderstood or misused. Second, the foundations matter most. No supplements or new drugs can replace good sleep, regular movement, muscle strength, healthy metabolism, and meaningful social connection. Third, supplements can support health, but they do not replace lifestyle. Fourth, experimental therapies are exciting, but they need caution, patience, and proper scientific validation. And finally, reducing proven harms often gives the greatest gain in health span. So the practical message is very simple and very human. Drink less, smoke and vape less or not at all. Move wisely and progressively. Eat adequate, especially enough proteins. Sleep well and make changes gradually and sustainable. Longevity is not about chasing miracles. It's about respecting biology and making consistent, sensible choices over time. Thank you for watching.